There are many different kinds of handguns, from single-shot pistols to derringers. The revolver and the semi-automatic pistol are the two most common types. In today's video, we'll highlight the differences between revolvers and semi-auto handguns. When you start looking for the best handgun, you have so many options that it can be hard to decide. So, we'll show you the differences and leave you to decide which works best for you. Gun owners carry semi-automatic pistols and revolvers for many different reasons, but there are some essential differences in how they work. Want to know? Well, here you go. Revolvers. The revolver gets its name from the cylinder in the middle of the gun that turns. This cylinder has several chambers that hold the bullets. Most revolvers are double action, which means that with one pull of the trigger, the hammer is cocked and the round is fired. The trigger pull is usually longer and heavier when a gun has double action, but revolvers with an external hammer can usually be manually cocked, making the trigger's force feel more like a single action. There are also single-action revolvers where the hammer has to be pulled back by hand. Revolvers are easy to use because they don't have a slide rack or a magazine to fill and put in. But most revolvers can only hold so many bullets as semi-automatic guns of the same size. Some people think revolvers never break down or get stuck, but this is not true. They might be less likely to break down or get stuck, but it's still possible. And it usually takes longer to reload a revolver than a semi-automatic gun. Because the cartridges are loaded one at a time into the cylinder, it does take longer to reload the gun when all the rounds in the cylinder have been used. People often think of gunfights in the Wild West or old-fashioned law enforcement when they hear the word revolver. However, many different kinds of revolvers don't look like the one Clint Eastwood used in Dirty Harry movies. They come in different sizes, weights, and calibers. In most modern revolvers, you can unload the cylinder by using a side latch to unlock it from the frame, swinging it out to the left, and pressing down on an ejector rod attached to an extractor star. Semi-automatics. The semi-automatic handgun, sometimes called an automatic gun by mistake, is the most commonly used for self-defense. The name semi-automatic comes from pulling the trigger and firing one round, setting up the gun to fire the next round until the magazine changes. In other words, you don't have to rack the slide before each trigger pull. Instead, you only have to do it before the first shot. Semi-automatics come in all shapes, sizes, and calibers, like revolvers. Even the smallest semi-automatics usually have at least 6 rounds in the magazine. Since the rounds are stored in a magazine instead of being loaded one at a time, a semi-automatic is faster to reload as long as there are extra magazines with rounds. There are also handguns with only double action, single action, or double action and single action in the same gun. But unlike the revolver, the single action semi-automatic does not need to be manually cocked. Even though a semi-automatic handgun has more moving parts than a revolver, it's not much more complicated to use than a revolver. Some people say that some women can't use the slide on a semi-automatic gun, but most of the time, this has more to do with technique than strength. Almost all women can learn to rack a slide unless they have health or mobility problems. What are the pros and cons? When choosing a handgun for self-defense, you must know how the different types work. Reliability. Semi-automatic pistols can be very reliable, but they still need reliable ammunition, so light loads can cause the machine to stop. Some semi-automatic actions don't reliably feed bullet shapes that are very good for self-defense, such as jacketed hollow points or semi-wad cutters. Simplicity. A revolver is easy to use because it doesn't have a safety catch, magazine catch, slide stopper, and you can hide the hammer. Capacity. Revolvers hold fewer rounds than semi-automatic pistols because the cylinder's circumference limits the size of the frame. In a semi-automatic pistol, the magazine can be moved past the frame to make room for more bullets if needed. In reality, the revolver and the semi-automatic handguns are pretty much the same in how they're used and shot. For various reasons, people will probably be very sure that one is much better than the other. The conversation is complicated, but this information should help you decide what to do. It doesn't matter if you choose a revolver or a semi-automatic gun, as long as you choose the one which works best for you and your situation. We trust this video has been helpful. You now know which is best for you. If you like this video and want to see more like this, do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel.